Hello! This video will hopefully help you or your students as they begin their flute journey, especially at the beginning. What you're going to need is a piece of paper. It can be scratch paper, some type of mirror, or a cell phone set in selfie mode, and the head joint of the flute, carefully resting in its case, not on a table where it could roll. Before I put the flute into the student's hands, and I do this by simply keeping the flutes in the cabinet. If you bring them out of the cabinet, it will end up in someone's hand. So keep it in the cabinet. Instead, pass out a piece of paper. And we're going to rip this paper into a piece maybe 2 inches by 1 inch. And what we're going to do with this paper is make a reed. So I'm just folding it up the long way. I kind of only want 1/4 to a 1/2 inch width. The length doesn't really matter, but if it gets too much longer than this, it's going to be weird. So let me explain what I do with this. I have the students put their reed in between their lips. Yes, I am aware that the flute does not play with a reed. What I have them do while it's between their lips is blow air against it in their mouth, but the air can't escape. So they start to feel a little pressure in the mouth because of that air. While they're doing this, they slowly pull the paper out until what's left is a tiny little opening that the air can escape from in the lips, which we know is called the embouchure. So let me show you what I mean. Get your lips a little wet. Don't want any paper cuts. Pulled mine out a little fast. Let me try that again. What you might see is this. If that happens, this is where the mirror will come in handy. I have found students are much more able to change something physical if they can see what they're doing that I want them to change. So when I just tell a student, don't puff your cheeks, that doesn't always click with them, especially if they're in 3rd or 4th grade. They really need a visual to understand what I am talking about, because as far as they know, they're doing it exactly correctly. So show them what they're doing. That might take a whole day, just doing this exercise. But then to make it a little more fun, you can start doing air games. So have them put, or you could even try putting your hand in front of their face if you're comfortable, and if they're comfortable, and ask them, can they follow your hand with their airstream? So something like this. Always have them start here. They're not ready yet to start on their own. And also always demonstrate with this so they remember to keep using it. That's what you're going to see the first time, is they'll use their chin to keep following your hand. And I let them because it's funny. And then I give them the opportunity to think, how could you follow my hand without moving your chin? And they're usually like, I don't know. Let me try, Dr. K. So I let them try. And they will feel for the first time, hopefully, that their lips have so much flexibility in where the air can go. And that will be huge for them, even if you don't talk that much about it. Just the experience of that is going to help them. So let's say we've done this air read thing for like a day, and class is over. We had a few giggles, people made weird faces, whatever. Keep the safe space, but sometimes learning an instrument is funny. So it's time to go on to the head joint. Always call it the head joint, that's what it is. This is the lip plate, because it's a plate for your lip. And this is the embouchure hole. This is the crown. Encourage them, if you can, to not play with the crown. Some of them just always will. That's okay. So to find the spot where it goes on your face, this is what I start with, okay, before I make any adjustments. I have them find the spot on their lip where the lip skin turns to chin skin. And sometimes they can just find it. I'm using my camera to see mine, but again, use a mirror or a camera or a phone in selfie mode if it's possible. Have them find that spot. Maybe even have them use their nail and just kind of like touch it. And then what I ask them to do, after reminding them the opening of the head joint is going to face to the right, is I ask them to put the edge of the embouchure hole at that spot to the best that they can with their mouth closed. Again, maybe a mirror will help the student. While this is on their face, their mouth will be closed in a perfect world. I remind them that when they play the flute is a part of them. It should be on their face very firmly, just like your ear is attached to your face or your head. It's really not going to go anywhere. It shouldn't be away from the mouth, and then you reach to it. It should come to you and be very firm there. If the student has braces, they may have to figure out what that means for them so that they're not hurting themselves. So they got the head joint here. I encourage them to hold on to it steady. Usually that means holding it here. There's just more to hold. Or like this. Air reed. I tell them keep just like we did without the flute. And I have them repeat that several times. While they're kind of all repeating it, I'll walk around and help each student individually, if it's a group class, which often it is. The goal of this for me is to build their confidence in just simply making a sound on the flute. Once you get to the point where they can put it up and consistently play, there are some games you can add to make the head joint more fun to keep them practicing embouchure formation and steady sound. One example is to do a call and response after you teach them some different sounds. So if I'm doing call and response, they play it back. They play it back. And to start some improvisation, even though I might not use that word yet, I'll ask them to play something that I did not play. This is more of a one-on-one, go around the room kind of thing. So if I play, they play something different back. That means they have to have heard what I have played, internalized it, and they're actively playing something different. Just a different kind of way to mix it up. So that is my advice for head joint. When is it time to move on to the body of the flute? That is going to be different for every student. I'm not even going to put a time on it. I've had students ready the second day. I've had students who need over a month on this thing. Some of you might have questions about the Pneumo Pro. I just wanted to say I have used it. I didn't see a huge difference in my students' progress, but what it is cool to see is that you can see where your air is going with these fans. Air angle is huge on flute. So if I'm blowing down, the bottom fan spins. If I'm changing my air angle up, so sometimes, especially your intellectual students, the ones that are like real thinkers, seeing this is going to help them like understand what's happening. But I don't use it as a beginner tool any longer. Okay, that's it. I hope that this helps you. I hope it helps your students.